What's going on, everybody? Rebel Vion here, and today we have yet another special guest in the community spotlight. Today we have the honor and the privilege to have Flailthroughs, aka Rob, grace us with his presence. What's up, man?
Oh, not much. Glad to be here.
Dude, I'm glad to have you. You have been requested quite often, and I was like, you know what? Let's see if we can make it happen, and boom, here we go. So, we're going to jump right into it. Again, everyone who's watching for the first time, this is more of a chill interview format, so enjoy the footage as we go through some topics, some questions, so we can get to know our homie Flailthroughs, or Rob, a little bit better. So, Rob, first question out the gate, I have to ask you, man, how did you get into Gundam and Gundam Battle Operation 2?
Okay, so how I got into Gundam in general is okay. This is forever ago. It was around 1995 or 6. There was a little hole in the wall comic shop next to the bookstore my dad liked to go to. And this guy obviously was just getting rid of his own collection to a certain degree, because it's like he had just like the last couple of years worth of Shonen Jump, a bunch of New Type magazine and Hobby Japan, and it was all pretty cheap. So I grabbed basically one of each, and the Hobby Japan had a photo spread for the Master Grade Char's Gelgoog on it, and that was pretty much my first exposure to Gundam right there. And really liked the look of the design, really thought it was great, and then gradually found out more about Gundam with the sources I could actually get a hold of up to then. And then a couple of years later got internet access just as Gundam Wing was hitting cable, so I wound up grabbing the first video of that from Blockbuster, and then just found out that that was just the latest series in at that point 25-year run, and found out that Bandai had just basically within the last year or so just put out the original movie trilogy on VHS on the Anime Village label, and so grabbed those and just fell in love with the thing, and that just led me to a bunch of different places and people, and just started down a very, very long weird road. But in terms of GBO2, I've been doing Flailthroughs. Actually started out as like a blog where I was playing through Japanese games without a translation, without a guide, because there were a lot of games that there weren't guides or translations for at the time, and it wasn't exactly making a lot of headway on that in terms of getting anybody's attention. And just about that time we wound up with the PS3, and Gundam Battle Operation 1 started, and it's like, okay, that sounds like, just like in terms of things I know about and things I can get easy access to, this sounds just like kind of the perfect storm in terms of where I should be with things. And just on a whim, I said, okay, so hey, if anybody wants to play with me Friday night, just send me your PSN, and I'll try and get you an invite so we can play this together. And that just started a thing that I am still doing with some people today, just getting together on Fridays to play the game. So it's and so yeah, I played that, took a few breaks for frustration, because as I like to tell people, GBO2 can have its frustrations, but it's nothing compared to GBO1. And so had some breaks, but when it closed and GBO Next was not doing too well, I kind of thought that was going to be the end of it. I started playing other Gundam games on the channel too, and that got a lot of good response and a lot of good people, coming around to see what I was doing. And then they announced GBO2, and yeah, I think I have maybe missed posting videos for that 2 days since since it originally premiered in Japan. Like one of those was because I had no internet. the other one the other one might have been when I was in the hospital, but I think I didn't even miss anything then because my family and Maelstrom, aka MS Bob, just did their best to keep things moving on the channel because it was like a month after the US debut, and there was just some really it was the worst possible time to be sick. But man,
dude,
but
that's awesome. I love like the childhood fact that you remember, Charles Gelgoog, right? And it was just like, it's just a spread, and it was like, okay, down the rabbit hole I go. Fast forward 20-some, 30-some years later, you're like, oh, hell yeah, let's get it,
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, 94, 95, bruh, that was like that was 30 years ago, like, right? Yeah, my math,
Yeah.
right? So, dude, we're dinosaurs, dog. Like, holy cow. Because a lot of people also mention how it came to cable, like, Wing and G Gundam, which is, I find that very, very therapeutic when people learn it from Toonami, but I also love when people find it through other outlets or other ways. And it's funny you also mentioned how Gundam Battle Operation 1 was. I tried playing Gundam Battle Operation 1 and I couldn't get it to work, right? I think I played maybe 1 or 2 matches, because back then on PlayStation 3 you had to go through some hoops to play Japanese games. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had to make an account, you had to just buy yen if you want to purchase a game, and like you, I bought a lot of Japanese imported games and played them with no context. Maybe after I got like a decent-ish phone, I could take a picture and use Google Translate. But aside from that, man, I agree with you. There were some big hitters, some heavy hitter Japanese games we did not get, and it's unfortunate that we didn't get those, Gundam or not, but those are really cool. But no, I also think it says something to you and your friends who are still going strong for getting together, just having a night out, just playing some Gundam games or some games. That says a lot. So that's really cool. So I'm happy to hear that you and your friends can enjoy that. So keeping online here with GBO2 stuff for now, you've been doing, Gundam and Gundam Battle Operation content for some time. With your time with GBO2, what is your favorite role in GBO2? Is it General, Raid, or Support?
When I started out, I preferred playing supports. Like, that was my thing for most of GBO1. But as I got better at the game, and honestly, I just feel like the DualShock 4 and the DualSense have better analog sticks than the DualShock 3 did.
Mm-hmm.
And just my aim was able to improve because of that. So I've gotten to the point where I'm more comfortable playing generals, and I think general is my favorite, but I think I'm better at all of them than I used to be. It's just one of those things. Like I said, just the DualShock 3 just did not work right for me. The analog was very, very twitchy, and just trying to get precise shots off with that for me never worked. So hanging back and having time to miss was pretty much the ideal thing then. But yeah, now that I'm a little bit better with that, I can land like nice precision beam rifle shots. General is where I like to be.
That's awesome. It's funny because when I started playing GBO2, when it came out in Japanese, I started playing with support suits, and the only reason I stuck with support suits more than anything because I just got a lot of support suits. So I'm like, I just want to play. Oh, this is support. I guess I'll play this. I guess I'll play that. So I totally get it. But that's really cool. And I definitely, it's weird. I feel as if some people have like almost a personality. Like, you can, oh, this person uses Raid, this person uses generals, this person uses support. So when I hear you say you like to use generals, I can see it. As well as you definitely enjoy it, and you're probably the kind of general player that I like to play with. So that is very exciting to hear. Because it's fun stuff. So now, more specifically, all right. So since general is your favorite, and this doesn't include just generals, what are your top 3 favorite suits in GBO2?
Okay. First one is still the early production Gelgoog. That just has always just really felt good for me since in GBO2. It has that really hard-hitting beam rifle, and if your aim is good, you can land shots around your allies and provide, mid to long-range support if you're not seeing a good opportunity to get in. Mm-hmm. And it's really versatile. I think in the first round we played, I think it didn't have enough stunning power really to do what we needed to do. But when I can land the shots, I can do really well with it. So that's kind of one I feel like it's always good for somebody to have just like a go-to suit so they can kind of calibrate for the day. Like if you can't do well with your best suit, just go, okay, it's just me, take a break.
Yeah, I feel that in my soul when you shoot. I'm like, I missed literally 50 to 70%. Like there's some matches you get in and you're like, I missed a lot of my shots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when you're having that kind of day, you're better off just taking a break sometimes. It's half the battle is just knowing when to quit. So.
Okay, I like that. I like that.
But, yeah, that's my number 1. My number 2 is the Zeta Gundam. That is just that has the precision of the Gelgoog beam rifle, and it has a lot more stunning capability between the one-hit stun rifle and the grenades. And since it has 2 pretty good melee weapons, including one with really good reach, it can handle itself up close very, very well. Also, I'm not always great at handling it in Wave Rider mode, but you can do a lot with that if you have the right opportunity. Mm-hmm. And just sometimes stun somebody from mid-range and swarm them and just get as much damage in as you can and get away. But that is probably the one I use. The second most used thing I have, because and the fact that on top of all that, it is fast and has forced injectors and can get out of allies' way, get out of its own way. It really is one of the better things at 600. I feel. Yeah.
It's really cool. And didn't it recently get a buff to the grenade launcher?
Yeah, the grenades, I believe, stun a little more easily, and they also buffed the beam rifle itself. So
I love it. Keep doing it, Bandai. Keep giving us some love on the order suits. All right, just saying, keep doing it.
Yeah, I love that about this game. The fact that things keep getting tweaked. I can only imagine the amount of work that goes into this game. A mobile suit a week for who knows how, for just about every week since the beginning. Mm-hmm. And tweaking older suits, planning future suits and events, and, just all of that, and just keeping that regular schedule. That has got to be just a killer workload. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, shout outs to the GBO team. If any of y'all watching, keep it up, y'all. Keep it up. Make sure you take your vacation time, though. All right?
Yeah. My third suit is actually the one support on the list, the Zeta Plus C1, because that one just it moves fairly much like a general. It's very fast as supports go. It has the heavy stagger with the beam smart gun and the hip gun stun fairly quickly, and then once you once you've landed the heavy stagger, you can transform and then do it all again if you're fast enough and have enough space. So it's one of only a couple of things I've actually gotten a favorite badge with. I think it was the first.
Oh.
So, yeah, C1's still one of my favorites. You know, it has the support problem of, you know, if you get caught by a raid, you're dead. But there's nothing you can really do about that. So, you know, you at least can turn into a jet and get away.
Yeah.
And it's got 2-hit melee, which is not very common in sports either.
Yeah, no, you're right. When it comes to any raid or any catch, if you get caught, you're just caught at that point. Just accept your fate, either fight or flight, because it'd be like that. And it's funny because I remember when that suit came out, I was excited, then I wasn't excited, but I think that suit's really strong. Like how I gauge support suits is based off like the precision required for a shot, the range, and how frequently I can, you know, barrage from afar. Generally, if it's a sniping oriented suit, but that is a very good suit because I'm pretty sure on regular shot it staggers and charge it also staggers. So it's really good. No, that's good taste. Very good taste. Like I think those are very strong picks, and all of them are very like friendly to people who wants to try a little different play style. So that's really good. So now I have a question regarding GBO2 players, because I know you've been playing and you've been doing, you know, your content for some time here. Is there anything that you've seen GBO2 players do that doesn't make sense? Or is there anything they've done to impress you? Anything come to mind?
I can't like point to anything specific, like one thing that, you know, surprises me or doesn't make sense. There's just that, you know, every day you'll see something that doesn't really make sense to you when you're playing, especially in raided, like we were talking about before. But just every once in a while, in terms of pleasant surprises, you just see somebody, you know, land a counter or, you know, manage a nice, really precise shot that, you know, gets the enemy off your back without stunning you, and you really come to appreciate that because that is hard to do.
Yeah.
Just, you know, the ability to synchronize with your team is really, you know, precious in this game. It is technically a team shooter, and, you know, a lot of people don't necessarily play it that way, which can, you know, be a real thing. You know, if in terms of things I both do and don't understand why people do, it's the, you know, the people frequently the ones playing raids who rush into the enemy formation and then, you know, yell for help.
Yes.
Please just stick with us. We can help you if we're like nearby, but just, you know, you cannot take on the entire enemy team by yourself. Yeah. Trust me. I've tried it.
Support me. I'm like, bruh, I literally cannot support you versus 5 people. Like, it's me and you. You know. So, man,
I try not to be too, you know, try not to get too annoyed about it, because I've gotten myself in that situation. You know, it's sometimes when you're late to the fight, when you've respawned and everybody else is low on health, it's easy to end up being the last one alive. And just, it's like, you know, just everybody please come back as quick as you can. I can probably beat any one of these people. I can't beat any 3.
Yeah. That's well said. I standing ovation. Because I feel that in my bones, because a lot of times you'll be playing and, you know, someone will rush in. I was like, so in a perfect world, let's just say if both teams had 3-1-1, 3 generals, 1 raid, 1 support, right? Like, you guys could probably peel the other generals off and give them a fighting chance. Granted, if their raid fights their raid, your raid fights their raid, or you can allow them to beeline. Granted, I just love GBO2 so much because there's so many different situations where things play out but I really feel as if people play stronger as a team, your win rate is going to be a lot higher, and that's why I enjoy playing with friends at times. Not only that, but when you play a game with friends, you're likely to have a little bit more fun, get a little laughs out of it, or get hype.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's really fun.
Yeah, it is a good game to play with friends. It's not set up for that to be the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah.
To be honest, I played competitive games with in-game chat, and I know a lot of people want it, and I'm frequently very thankful it's not there. Because that way, if I want to talk to people, I can talk to people I want and need to talk to, and not, put up with, aggrieved 12-year-olds with a vocabulary they probably shouldn't have.
Do you remember before they even changed that? Remember, it was free type in all lobbies. You remember that? Because, boy, people would get in there and see your name, and they would just go off. I'm like, bruh, calm down. Like, who hurt you today? Like, you just need to go take a nap. Oh, man, but no, that's really... I'm resonating over here. Alright, so, another somewhat GBO2 question. This was actually asked from a community member. It was really cool. They wanted to know, what was the impetus for creating GBO2 content? Did it come from a love of Gundam anime, figures, or both? Or what was the goal, or was the goal to have a successful YouTube channel? Also, if your motivation has changed, what changed it and when did that occur? That was a loaded question. I apologize, but that was actually kind of an insightful question.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of all of the above. I was definitely, when GBO1 started, I was definitely looking for something to just bring the channel to, more people's attention, and I, like I said, I felt like it would be just the perfect kind of just combination of my interests and the approach I had for the channel at the time, and it pretty much worked out that way. With GBO2, there was still that. There was the fact that it was it was handled a little bit differently and was a little bit more open from the start. It looked like, and it was nice to, there were people I had been playing other games with in the interim. There's people I hadn't gotten a chance to play with since the first one ended, so it was just, it was a combination of, I think this is going to be really big, and also just that I'm going to be able to get back with some people I didn't think I was going to end up talking to again. So this is, it was great on all levels, honestly. So I'm still trying to, trying to make things as, as much of a success as I can. Trying to, grow the channel, but at the same time also just trying to do it in a way that I enjoy it, because like I said, there were times on GBO1 that I just burned out. There were long stretches where I didn't post anything for that, and just I feel like besides the fact that I'm now on, I now have anxiety and antidepressant medications, which actually helps more with this kind of game than you would think it does. And just, having a little bit more even temper now, having a little bit more even, state of mind, and being also just being able to, having the sense to pace myself a little bit more. It just really makes it easier to keep up with this than GBO1 ever was. Also, there's the fact that, we don't have that horrible energy system anymore. So it's like, okay, well, I get 3 times to play this today, and I either get a round I want to use, or I'm screwed. So that was, that was just not... I do not miss games with an energy system. I really, making this just like open and play as much as you want. It was just And the worst part is I frequently don't end up playing more than 3 games a day at this
Yeah.
point. Just having the choice, just like for getting together with people on Friday nights, it's so much better because
Yep.
just originally it was like, okay, well, here's 3 rounds on my main account, here's 3 rounds on my alt. If we have time to, if it took us a while to get some set up, we may all earn back an energy on the first account, but that's generally as far as it got. So, just just the freedom to be able to play as much as you want has been a huge thing for GTO 2.
Yeah, and the ability to, like you said, to go and come as you please, playing matches, different times of the day, drop in, drop out. It's totally simple to, come in and play a couple matches, take a break, come back. Because that's what happened with, Battle Operation 1 and Operation Next. I'm like, I really hated the cost system. I really hate the cost system and stuff, and it was a big turnoff. And the reason I didn't try. I don't remember if Operation Troy had a cost system. I don't recall. I think it might have, but because I also tried playing that too, and I didn't have any luck on 360. It was a lot harder to make a Japanese account on 360 too. Ugh.
Yeah. Also, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Operation Troy was like one of the only Xbox 360 games that was ever region locked.
Yeah. Oh gosh, bro! Like it was.
I always wanted to try it, but just that there was way too much of a hurdle for entry there.
Yeah, and for those who were not born into the generation that us two old dinosaurs are, there was something called region lock where certain games can't be played on certain platforms, or certain consoles out of the region, such as I know you probably had the. Was it the Disc Wizard for PlayStation 2? Was it? Or
I had
PlayStation
something
2,
very
PlayStation
similar
3?
for sure.
It was like where you put the disc in, you start it, but you take the faceplate off and you pull it out and you swap the disc in for import games. At least that's what I had to do. But
I was gifted a PS2 with a mod chip one Christmas by a friend.
Nice.
Unfortunately, it died. So after that, I did end up having to get one of the flip top shells and doing it that way. Still, that was actually still just a little bit more reliable than the PS1 method, which was just a Game Shark type device plugged into the back of the system and a little spring.
Yes, I won't forget this spring. So it helps the disc when it spins. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this. The things we did to play games, import games back then, man. Y'all don't even know. Y'all got it so easy. Everything digital. Just make an account. Y'all don't even know.
I mean, with the Super Nintendo, there are just a couple of physical nubs in the cartridge slot. So if you had the courage to open it up and file those down, you were good to go. Or you could get a little adapter that just kind of put the cartridge up about 3 inches, which could be a little precarious sometimes. But
You're a brave soul. I could never do that. I would be terrified to mess up my Mega Man X or my Peacekeepers or Knights of the Round or something, But that's really cool. All right, so one more Gundam Battle Operation. Well, maybe 1.5, but someone wanted to know, for GBO2 creators, how do you get up to ranks like A+, or S- really quick? Someone mentioned they're hard stuck at A-, very close to A. And I'll preface this and say that you should not always assume all GBO2 creators rush for rank, but some of us do. But yeah, take it away. Thoughts?
Okay, I wish I knew. This one, right now I'm at I'd say middling on A, trying to get to A+ for the new Major General promotion. Because I'm pretty sure if you've been A+ either on ground or in space at any point in the past on your account, you can you'll just get it. But this is not the account I was ever A+ on. So I don't. I don't have any really good advice for it. You're gonna take some losses. The points are gonna go down. If you get a couple in a row, just take a break. Just stop when you get mad. That's the most important thing, because when you're starting to get mad, you're not gonna play well enough that it's gonna be worth continuing at that point. So
Yep.
just pick your best suit. You know, if you have a cost where you're the most comfortable, wait for that cost. Just wait for, it sounds counterproductive, but it is actually faster to wait for your optimum conditions to make that, because
I agree.
just trying to brute force through with any suit at any cost is just gonna make you miserable.
It's painful. It's real painful. Like
It
that is absolute, like, perfect advice, because I climb the ranks with Easy 8 weapons rack most of the time on 350 and 400 all the time. That's my baby. That is my baby at low cost, and it carried me easily into A. I was like, all right, I'm done. I was like, there's no mechanical benefit now. Now they're like, oh, you have to do it. I'm like, man, come on, this is, but
Yeah,
it is what it is, you know.
If they ever decide that there's a promotion that needs S-, I'm just going to bow out. I'm not going to go after that. I can't.
Yeah, it's, people think it gets better A+ and A. It doesn't. Like,
No, it's just I talk about this sometimes with people who don't play the game, and they say, "Well, it sounds like you're playing with much newer players." It's like, do you know how long it takes to get to A- and A? These are not people who just picked up the game yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Honestly don't. I have bad days myself, and maybe I just catch people on them. But I don't understand how you can get up to A something and sometimes play the way that I see people playing in rated. I don't get it.
Yeah, I think, well, there's a lot of different play styles out there too. So,
Oh yeah,
it's well said. You'll be playing.
I think I've told this story before on a video somewhere, but my brother is big into FF14. He's played that for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And he was having a problem for a long time. He was on one of the European servers, and just occasionally he would run into people who were just not following the strategies that he expected, and it would just be a gigantic disaster. And what he found out is that eventually there are totally separate tutorials in other languages for most of these bosses. So just, if you have learned, if you are on a Euro server and you're playing with people who use the French tutorial for a boss, they are going to have a totally different method for doing what they're doing. And I kind of have a feeling that there's a certain degree of that to GBO2 as well. Just that people, from other places, even just people in other groups that you're not part of, will have different styles of play, and just matching with that is really difficult.
Yeah.
Like, I hope they do another Japanese tournament again sometime soon, because just watching that and watching how some of the top tier Japanese players played the game was really fascinating.
Yeah. It's really interesting, because I definitely think, like, Westerners, like, on Westerners as in, like, US Canadians, whatever, I feel like we have a different play style towards Europeans and then Asian countries or territories. Like, I just feel like it's been like that in gaming for quite some time. I'm not saying that we all should play the same, but at some point I think it'll be really neat if some of us could get together and just be like, hey, yeah, let's just talk about stuff, you know what I'm saying? So, down the road it'd be really cool for us to hopefully chit chat with some Japanese content creators, but some content creators who I always talk to, they live in Asia. But like, I do like that aspect. As much as it's a pain, it's kind of like a blessing at the same time. It's just knowing that there's another pilot on the other side of the world who uses the exact same suit you do, but they've used it completely different, and they've managed to make it work. So
yeah,
it's pretty neat.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we still have some more questions. I know we've been going for a little bit here, but hey, look. It's a boy Rob, so we're gonna have a little bit of fun. All right, so before we finish that, if there's one thing you could tell, one thing from a person who's been playing GBO, GBO2, and just Gundam games in general, what would you tell a new player coming to GBO 2? If it was one thing.
Ooh, that's a tricky one, because there's a handful of things I kind of like to stress for new players, but let's see. I mean, just the most important thing I think when you're first starting out is just stick with your team and shoot what they shoot. That is the fastest way to make progress, and then gradually, the fights are going to break down into smaller groupings, and you'll have a chance to try things out on your own. But just learning to stick with your team and work with them, and hopefully not stun each other in close quarters is a lot of the game.
Yeah.
Just the other. I was kind of torn between that and my other piece of default advice, which is just know the spacing and the hitboxes for your melee attacks as well as you possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you can land an attack on your enemy in a tight space without hitting your allies, and when you can reach your enemy before they can reach you, is that is the world in terms of one-on-one fights. But lately I've been thinking I kind of have stressed that what to do in one-on-one fights a little bit too much in how I approach the game, because it is a team shooter, and you need that team, because otherwise you're just going to get surrounded and murdered. So
yeah.
The first starter piece of advice: stick with your team, focus your fire, and you'll you're off to a good start in the game.
Hey, see, I like to hear that. Alright, so dropping the GBO 2 specific questions and getting a little bit more fun questions before we wrap up here. So, out of all Gundam universes, what are your 3 favorite Gundam machines?
Okay, that's a little bit trickier. There's just there's
it's tough. It's rough.
It's big. That's a big big pool of mobile suits. I've always liked the Rick Diaz very well. That's a nice design. It's good. Just a nice, very clean revision of the Dom and Rick Dom body type, and it looks really good. I like most of the stuff Mamoru Nagano designed for Sega Gundam before he had to leave the production.
Mm-hmm.
But Rick Diaz is probably my favorite of all of those.
Respect it.
Let's see, what else? And just looking around to see what all is next to me, because I still have a bunch. Well, the other thing I didn't mention, in the middle of my Gundam journey, I guess, from 1995 to now, my friend Chris and I were actually the only people running a website that reviewed MS and action figures in English.
Oh.
So, yeah, that was itfigures/figurereviews.com, which is no longer with us. But yeah, we did a lot of text and photo reviews for a lot of
That's awesome.
figures.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I love that line. That's why I've kind of gotten into the G-frame stuff, because it's the same basic scale. So there's a lot of things that just never got done in MS and action that it's nice to be able to just go back and have in some kind of approximate scale.
Yeah.
I'd say the standard Gelgoog is still one of my favorites. I like that design, and just they've made some nice, very subtle tweaks to it over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's kind of lumpy and weird in the original animation.
It is. It's very weird to me. That's why I was never a fan. I was just like, what is this thing?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, they managed to streamline it a lot, over various model kits and things over the years. So it's really wound up looking very nice. That's another one of the designs that Tomino did on a short notice. He did the sketch for that was then fleshed out to be in the show.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. That's really cool.
and he designed, when they were short on staff near the end, he wound up doing a lot of the design work. So he also designed a lot of the weird mobile armors. So you can kind of see where his approach to things just made for some really really odd odd looking stuff.
Yeah.
But let's see, for a third one, again, just so many choices, but I almost kind of had a soft spot for the Sword Impulse Gundam of all things.
Yes, I respect it. Destiny has some really, really nice designs.
It does. The story-wise, it was never my favorite, but it had some really, really great mobile suits in it. Just the mechanical design was really on point for that show.
Yeah. I respect the Sword Impulse. The pilot, not so much, but that design is really good. It's funny because a lot of times people ask me that question. I'm like, yeah, this was. I'm like, oh, all this was like in Destiny, right? And I'm just like, some of them, most of them, maybe, but no, it's really cool. So I have another question.
Yeah.
We're following this up. Out of all Gundam universes, if you had to live in one timeline, what would it be and why?
Oh man, that's kind of a tough one.
Any timeline with anything Gundam related.
Okay, any timeline with anything Gundam related, then I would say definitely the Gundam Build Fighters timeline, because I would be least likely out of all of those to die some kind of horrible death.
Yeah. 10 out of 10, I agree. It just looks so cool. Like, I felt like Gundam Build Fighters changed my life. Like, that's how much I love Build Fighter series. Like, I had never been so happy to wake up on a Monday morning in my life. In my life.
It's a great show, and yeah, just man, it's just weird to think about how much how much love went into that show, because there's just every little background character is a Gundam character. Everything in there is just it is packed with a ridiculous level of details, and then they got some of the people they got to do some of the some of the battle animation. Just I love the fact that for Tryon 3, the big double Zeta super robot, they got Masami Obari, who is one of the all-time greats of mecha animation. They got him to do the animation sequence for that, because they could.
They did such a good job with that series, and I will tell people that's my favorite Gundam series. They're like, what is it about? It's about toys. What? Bro, but let me tell you why it's so good, though. Like you said, it has a lot of time and love went into that series. The action is some of the best Gundam action we've seen in a long time, and it's like also it's fan service for Gundam fans of different eras together. Absolutely loved it. That soundtrack slaps too. It was amazing. It was so good. Now you make me want to go watch it. Okay, Build Fighters. Another Build Fighters person. I respect it. Alright, so I know we've been going on for a while here, and I didn't realize how long we're going, but screw it, we're having fun. Are there any other interesting facts you'd like to share about yourself, Rob?
Oh man, I don't know. I guess probably moderately well known, but not like super well known, as I am regularly on a Transformers podcast called Radio Free Cybertron. It is actually the oldest Transformers podcast in existence, and one of the oldest podcasts in the world.
Whoa.
And I was not one of the original members, but my friend Chris XB, who I did figure reviews with, he was, and he introduced me to the Brian, who ran the show, and I've probably been on there for like 10, 12 years now. So it's yeah, it's a good time. I like Transformers. I watched all the robot shows I could get my hands on as a kid. I watched the first one I remember is Tranzor Z, which was like the localization of Mazinger Z.
Yeah.
And maybe even people of the same basic age as me, maybe like 1 in 10 people I mentioned it to will actually remember that exists. But
man, zinger.
Mm-hmm.
That's
But yeah, so I loved Transformers as a kid, and Chris actually got me back into it because when we were prior to figure reviews, we were moderators on a Gundam message board together.
Mm-hmm.
And I just picked up Transformers Armada Optimus Prime, the little $10 one, and I was like, I was talking about how just I like it, but the legs could just have a little bit more range, and Chris, who I hadn't really talked to much before, was on the board and said, "Okay, here's instructions on how to swap the thighs so that the decorative parts on the front or back where they don't obstruct the forward movement." It's like, I love this toy now. It's like this is fantastic. Thank you so much. And just that's how we got to talking to each other. So
that is freaking dope, dude. Also, I'm going to have this information in the description, y'all. So y'all need to check out this podcast. This sounds really, really dope. To be part of a podcast for so long and to keep going, like, I give you and your group props, dog. That's really cool.
It's a good time, and I've met a lot of great people through it. Just man, through working on Transformers stuff, I actually got to meet Chris in person for the first time in 2013, because we had talked together for about 10-15 years then, and had never met each other in person. So it really worked out really well. And it's just kind of strange how all these things are interconnected, and how the Gundam part led to the Transformers part, which just all of it just kind of it's just this kind of strange web of just circumstances that landed me where I am now, which is a place I'm pretty happy to be.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're here, dog. You've been awesome this entire time. So I think we're gonna get ready to wrap it up here, but before we do that, I do have one more question from the community. It's, if you were tasked with the creation of a perfect Gundam game, what genre would it be, and what mechanics would it have?
Now that is a tough one. I don't think it would be a perfect game, but something I've just thought would be fun to mess with at some point over the years is I would actually like to see them take just an engine like GBO2's and apply it to a big even just like a Fortnite style game where you can be running around and fighting on foot, and then you find a mobile suit and you get to do that instead.
Yeah.
I think that could be an amazing game. My perfect game would probably be something a little bit more open world, with a selection of mobile suits like as vast as GBO2's, because that is still amazing how much they have managed to fit into the game. But just something something that has just the kind of scope you see in Gundam, where it is where you're able to go from Earth to space to the colonies to just travel that universe, which has the Universal Century in particular having become so large over just 40 years of additions. Something that really captures that kind of size, I think would be amazing, but also just really difficult to and expensive to pull out.
Sounds like a metaverse or some kind of build diver system, Yeah. That's awesome. All right, so Rob, I think that's going to do it for us here today. I want to legit say thank you so much for taking the time to come chill, hang out with your boy, as well as answer some questions from them as well as from me, because you've been in this space for quite some time, and I'm glad we're able to get your get you down and sit down and get to know you a little bit better. Now, for all those who are watching this, thank you. You're amazing. Make sure to check out the other spotlights we have, as well as the spotlight sorties with Rob and myself. But you guys are awesome. Rob, tell the people where they can find you. All the things.
Okay, all the things. Mainly, of course, Flailthroughs. That is at youtube.com/Flailthroughs. We'll get you there. There is, like I said, a GPO 2 round a day since the game launched. There's other Gundam games up there as well. Some I really want to get back to. Just in terms of we were talking about my ideal Gundam game. If we're not doing a giant, almost impossible to make open world game, G Generation Genesis is pretty close, and I want to get back to that when I can. But I'm trying. I've got some health stuff I need to get in order, because I just keep kind of dozing off when I'm playing more relaxing games like that, and that's not good for recording. So I'm just I'm working on that. But if you like what you're seeing over there, I do have a Patreon at patreon.com/Flailthroughs. You can throw me a couple bucks a month, and I will take requests as to what mobile suit and color scheme you want to see in GPO 2. If you want to see, if you want to hear me on Radio Free Cybertron, tfradio.net is the website for that. There is a show every week. We record it live on YouTube at TF Radio Network every Wednesday night at around 8 Eastern. So, if you're into Transformers, please, come. We're mostly creaky old toy collectors, but we're. If you like the Transformers, especially the toys, come give us a listen. We've been around forever, and we generally know our stuff when we're awake enough to remember it. So, but yeah, I think that's pretty much every place to find me at the moment. I guess. Oh, the Flailthroughs Twitter is at Rob Flails, assuming Twitter is still a thing when you listen to this.
Yeah, we'll see, because Twitter's definitely a place. Also, we'll definitely have this in the comments. If you guys haven't, the description below. Make sure to show Rob some love. Give a thumbs up, not only for this video, but for our homie Rob. Again, from all my heart, man, I appreciate you a lot for coming up here. Everybody, just, be cool to one another. But I'm going to let Rob sign us off this video. Rob, take it away. Tell the people what they want.
All right. Thank you to everybody for listening. It's been a lot of fun, and so everybody take care, and we will see you soon.